should be. Hopefully you'll see the cover page, title page. Busy, good morning to you too. Thanks for being here, Chris. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. December 1st. Holy cow, it's already the end of the year. It's unbelievable how fast this year has flown by. A lot of excitement, a lot of stuff to talk about today. The YouTube folks should be popping in here any second. Same with the Facebook folks. Had a little bit of a leaf blowing competition going on the street down below. Apologize if that's annoying. I'm going to kind of mentally block it out. Maybe you can't even hear it. Simon, good morning. Thanks for being here. Our first YouTube participant, Brad. Good morning, Brad from Indianapolis. Brad, I used to live in Broad Ripple, 1990 to 1993. Worked for the Bio-Bandit Administration with the State Revolving Fund program for clean waste, for wastewater treatment facilities. We can't hear. How about now, guys? Could you guys hear now? Oh, Brad is hearing. Yeah, Broad Ripple's changed a little since. Oh, not to leave. Sorry, Alec. My bad. Awesome. Thanks. I gotcha. Yeah. So no, Broad Ripple was nice. You know, I worked downtown. You know, back when I was there, I think it was the Goldsmith folks just took over, and downtown was still kind of like the demilitarized zone. But man, they really changed that, didn't they? Rick, good morning. Thanks for being here. I have a fondness in my heart for Indianapolis. I have some relatives that live there now. We go and visit. I have a son at at Indiana University in Bloomington, and sometimes we meet up in Indianapolis, so it's all good. But thanks for coming. Appreciate it, Brad. Indianapolis is represented. Thomas, good morning. Whew, we're going to start on time here. I guess we got a couple of minutes just to chat. See the quote board on the right-hand side. ES up 51. Oh, man, this has been a volatile day, volatile couple of days, volatile few days. We'll talk about that in more detail as we come. Casimo, good morning from Toronto. I had an uncle named Casimo. Being from Sicily, I guess that's a normal thing. Robert is in Mazatlan, Mexico. Nice. There, well, he's passed. He was an older fellow. I mean, he was. This was a long time ago, but yeah, no, there was two of you. Peroni, like it. Cagnina, I got some vowels in my name also. Only 50% Italian though for me. And Bartlett, good morning. Hey, Dub, good morning. Thanks for being here. Appreciate the thumbs up on YouTube, guys. Really do. Really, really awesome. Thank you for that. Medici, Big Banks of Florence. I love Florence. Steak Florentine is my favorite in Florence. I've had it once there in Florence. It was magnificent. Tova is here. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Frank, good morning. It's 4 p.m. here in Holland. Awesome. Welcome for being here at Holland. Appreciate international folks being here today. It's awesome. Just a couple of housekeeping tips here before we get started. We're in a couple hours. We're gonna go into depth on the next event is going to be on the micro crude oil futures. And we're going to kind of explore what those are and how they could be beneficial, or at least why folks should consider taking a peek at those as well. Terrence loves his Rome visit. For those of you who are new, good morning. My name is Jim Cagnina. I'm a senior education and training specialist for the NinjaTrader platform. We're going to be logged into a simulated live account with real-time data feed today to kind of look for some trade setups, some trade ideas. I do want to remind everybody that trading futures, options on futures, involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although that's an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition, money I could afford to lose doesn't change my lifestyle. Overly anger, Mrs. Cagnina. Now, that third part is a little tongue-in-cheek, but not really. Stress in life matters. We make bad decisions when we're under stress. Be in a good place. Easy on the day trade margins, anything related to risk or anything like that, leverage, that kind of thing. Type it in. I'd be happy to talk about it. Terrence, I will ask my trusted sidekick, Isabella, to type in, cut and paste the micro e-mini webinar link into all the chat boxes we got going on here. So she'll do that, Terrence. Thank you. Hey, Frank. So, I mean, we're going to start with a daily chart today. And let's, I have candles identified as Omicron Friday. And, we have competing ideas here that, Powell had to testify yesterday also, and suggested tapering is going, might be considered to happen quicker than was previously outlined in the last Fed meeting on November, I forgot, 3rd maybe. And they're going to talk about it again December 14th and 15th. And the idea that maybe interest rates then would also be, the raising interest rates would be accelerated. So I mean, the talking heads on TV had competing, reasons for yesterday's candle, not the Omicron Friday, but yesterday's big red candle, and suggested maybe it was Powell talking. And I don't know, because I think everything he said was totally consistent with the meeting in November. I mean, he suggested that they might consider that they're going to leave it open, that maybe they will taper quicker, maybe they will adjust their interest rate policy quicker. They opened the door on November 3rd, not yesterday, although they were getting Powell was getting a lot of blame for yesterday, and I'm thinking, is that it, or is it this new variant where they're closing airports and doing stuff that is freaking folks out? In any event, it is what it is. The price is what it is. We're right at that 23% retracement level on a daily chart. Herbert says, "I wish they keep their mouth closed." I hear you, man, and it's a double, it's a balancing act between providing information on public policy and saying things that are gonna, using words in terms of an uncertain, maybe, I don't know yet, that kind of, and Powell's usually a very good communicator. Yesterday, I think he was a little off his game. His hair was a little disheveled. So I don't know, maybe he had a long weekend. I don't know. In any event, I think we're in good shape. Robert says, kick me in the 6. Kazima says, absolutely. All right. Thank you for cutting and pasting that link in for the crude oil event later on. Anyway, so I'm back in bullish mode right now. I really am. I think these asset prices with respect to equities, it's the only game in town. We have good earnings season. I think that the holiday spending is going to be okay. Kinks are kind of working themselves out of the supply chain. I live in a high-rise building here in Charlotte, and there's packages being delivered all the time, all nonstop in the front door. So in any event, I'm just positive guy, I guess, in general. So that's that. Let's take a look at the micro Nasdaq here. I mean, again, we're looking at this 23.3% fib retracement. I drew it from October low all the way to our recent highs here. Nothing, not rocket science stuff, just low to high or high, low to high. The trend is up here. We retrace back, magically we retrace back to the 38.2, almost to the tick. And this is the power of the Fibonacci retracement. I mean, this is really, it's crazy. And it almost has like a self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes. And remember, this fib line we could have drawn as early as the close on November 22nd. So it's not like I'm adding it after the fact. Just we touched there, man. Wow. All right, let's go to micro NASI again, just over the 23.6, much stronger index right now, I think. I just have a 20 period moving average there. And the reason I picked 20 periods is there's 5 trading sessions in a week. 5 times 4 in a month is 20. That, that's what I've done there with that particular one as well. Didn't even get close to 38.2 here. And I think the trend again is resuming back up. Gold, this was surprising. Omnicom Friday, gold didn't do anything, right? There wasn't this huge, flight to, quality that shot into the gold market that day. And you know, we did close below my trend line here. You can see my dotted trend line going. Let me get this pointer up here. I just touched the low. We did close below it yesterday, but now we're driving back up here. And again, right at the 61.8%. So I'm really mixed on gold. I don't know if I don't know what my bias is right now, but bias is neutral because we did close below the 61.8. And when you close below the 61.8, in my opinion, you're not in retracement mode anymore. No, it's not easy. You can't do it. You got to have a PC. This is a PC-based professional platform. I'll talk more about it. It's really modular, very easy to use. Data is outstanding. In my humble opinion. Trade execution is outstanding in my humble opinion. There will be eventually coming up, I don't know when, but there will be a max solution. So hang tight on that. All right, so let's shoot over to crude oil, which we'll go to bonds second. So bonds, you know, bonds did react as I thought they would. I mean, look at that big green. Let's look at the stats of this candle here on Omicron Friday. And it was only a half a day for bonds, right? So let's go ahead and look at high to low. We're talking 1, 2, 3.5 handles. That's $3,500 a contract if you went high to low. That's a spicy meatball. That's a dominant candle right there. Folks were shooting into it even yesterday. And this was a risk on kind of move of money move. Now we're kind of slowing back down a little bit. We still have a lot of buyers here. There's a pretty big tail here. We still have a lot of buyers here today. We'll see how that goes, right at the 23.6%. I'm a little nervous here. Do we have a double top? I mean, a contemporary double top. That's kind of interesting to kind of keep an eye on that. And I have my fib line drawn from back in the day. Crude oil, you know, we broke through my trend line on the downside. COVID Friday. I mean, the scare, of course, was on you know, jet fuel. I think was the biggest part of that thing, and we broke big. And we haven't recovered. Now the trend line was going from we're bouncing at the bottom of the trend line. Now we're hitting the top of the trend line. I'm going to keep it there. We'll see what happens here. We're closing below the 61.8%. There's a special OPEC meeting today and tomorrow, so this kind of thing could change. And we have, of course, our inventory report coming out at 10:30 today. So having said all that, where are we at here? So a double top, Chris, in my mind, is it's a pattern, right? It's a it's a chart pattern, kind of a recognized chart pattern that we see from time to time, and it really is the idea is we tried to make new highs twice over a longer period of time, and sellers just kind of said, no, we're not going any higher twice in this period of time. And so the suggestion is, the market just doesn't want to go there anymore, right? It just doesn't want to be there anymore. Okay. In any event, let's take a look at let's pivot over to the 10-minute chart, right? The 10-minute chart. Here it is. I got the volume profile on the left, way above the point of control. The bias on this whole volume profile is north. It's a P as in Peter shaped volume profile right now. We're making new highs as we go. We have a CCI that's pretty strong. And more importantly, look at the slope of the CCI, right? Commodity Channel Index, this is my oscillator. This CCI, I do not subscribe. Nisha, I do not subscribe to the idea that this tells us when the market is overbought or oversold. I know conventional wisdom is, hey, over 100, it's overbought, and it's time to go short. I don't subscribe to that. I'm looking at this thing and saying this is strong. It's plus 223. Look at the slope. How quickly it went from a negative state all the way up to a positive state. Very quickly, very few candles to accomplish that, which means the momentum, as the momentum indicator tells us, momentum is moving forward strongly, and we're making new highs. And again, I do not subscribe to the camp that, hey, once it's over 100, then it's overbought. Now the market could retrace, we could come back down for sure, but just as a general matter, that's how I think about it. So, in that event, Lee, good morning. Didn't see you in there. Thank you for coming here today. The moving average cross now starting to cross up, right? My fast moving average is the red one. The slow is the blue one. We're starting to cross up right now. So I'm definitely still looking for places to buy. Now, what mistake did we make yesterday? Me, Jim Cagnina. Mistake was I highlighted it in my notes today. I was so upset with myself yesterday. I mean, this was from yesterday's takeaway. The market doesn't like uncertainty, right? And when you start introducing uncertainty in the equity markets, then the bias becomes bearish and there's a flight to quality, which we saw not only Friday, but also yesterday. Number two, don't trade going into Powell yelling, testifying during a pandemic. That was takeaway number two, because we didn't know what they were saying. And, Powell was he was not his game. And it was a little weird, a little awkward. And I looked at it after the fact, but that was number two, right? We have uncertainty. We have some public policy going on behind our backs in real time, affecting real time prices. And then lastly was use micros, right? If we would have used micros, we would have been more patient and we might not have gotten whacked as hard. So that was my takeaway yesterday. Cosimo, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Delayed data shouldn't use to make a trade. I agree. We're not having data. We have real-time data right now. We are real-time data in it right now in my sim account. So not quite sure what that comment was. Herbert, micros would not have helped yesterday. You're right, but it would have alleviated the pain, right? And my comment, my red bullet point there is, we knew that the VIX was high. We knew there's a lot of volatility. We knew the bid ask on the dome were small, right? We saw it. It was in double digits instead of the triple digits that we see now. So all of these things, again, bad on me, but the thing I did to kind of recoup, not even recoup, but I took notes on a piece of paper with a pencil, and then I just kind of, typed in these bullet points. But now I know, right? Now it's going to help me, my brain digest this information better going forward and kind of learn and grow as I go. And I've been doing this for decades, right? So it's a process that never ends. It's a process that never ends. Herbert says, no, I still heard. Lee's been busy decorating in the in-laws dining room. So back at it today. I gotcha. That doesn't sound like that much fun, Lee. But anyway. All right. So let's just keep on with my, by the way, before we go back to my notes, let's just kind of peek here and see if we got any trade ideas brewing right now. This close was yesterday here on this dotted purple line. So that dotted purple line is, it doesn't look like we're that much higher, but we're 45 handles higher. ES is up 63.7 based on the settlement. And that's a spicy meatball. So I'm waiting. I'm going to put a fib line in right now. Looks like finally we have some things to settle in. I'm going to stick with my trade strategy, the one we do all the time. And I'm going to think about areas to enter and areas not to enter. Now I'm in a big size contract. Keep that in mind. If you're not comfortable with that, I'm going to go low. I'm going to do the whole day, low to high. And you know what? No, let me make this better. Let me make this a better positioning so we could see it a little bit better without interfering with the screen. Where's my fib? Fib retracement. I'm going to move it way over here because we're going to have more candles that are going to be painted on this chart as we go forward. And I'm just going to pick high to low right now. So there we are right now. And we have all the meat is up here at the top, right? Very heavily weighted. We're still really, really strong here. I'm not interested in selling this market right now. I want to have a more recognized area of resistance before we get there. We're definitely not there right now. From a conservative point of view, we're going to be a little bit patient today. And immediately we're going to consider right here at the point of control, which is right. I know it's very far away right now. We're going to just think about it, slow our roll, see how these candles develop before we start moving things around. And then again, my stop is going to be right below this little candle, this wick right here. So right below the 61.6. And we're going to just take a deep breath, right? From a micro point of view, I would probably try to be more aggressive and get a unit at 23, get another unit at 38. That's kind of my mindset right now. But we're not in micros, we're in the classic ES. Cosmo says, no, I'm talking about the CCI and other studies are delayed. Oh, yeah, great point. So Cosimo is, I'm sorry, I'm like off of my interpretation game today, but you're right. I mean, delayed indicators are just delayed indicators. And that's why I like to choose my oscillator in a way that gives me a sense of momentum or momentum change instead of an absolute condition of overbought, oversold. That's a really great point right there. Let's go ahead now. I'm going to pivot over to the micro Nasdaq, see what kind of picture. Now we have a better, more favorable structure here. Even though we have a double distribution, which is really nice. We have this point of control up here. We have a bunch of volume down here. This is be a couple different places to draw the fib line, but I'm going to draw it from low to high again. We're going to go Fibonacci retracement. One of the tools I have to have, and we have yesterday's purple line there, and now I have it. Now the unique thing here is the bottom of the value area does not line up with a 38 or a 50, which is okay. It doesn't always work out that way. And we're kind of retracing down right now at 23.6. So I'm thinking of a couple of units here, right? I'm thinking of a 38 unit. And, the 38 unit, again, CCI is negative in this case, but it's kind of going sideways now. So we had a nice velocity coming up. It's kind of going sideways. Now moving average cross is going parallel. We're approximately, 33 points apart on the moving average cross. So that's kind of unit number one. I do kind of like where we're at right now. Unit number two is at the 23.6, but let's take a look at the candle. We have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. I envision another higher low on the next candle. So I'm going to wait 3 minutes. And if we do maintain this higher low, then I think it's safe to kind of pop back in here for another unit in the micro NASI and see what we get. Now the volatility is so vicious in this market. Really, I want to be below yesterday's low here on the stop. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw my stop in. Best practices. And let's see what in 2 more minutes what the candle brings us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, get rid of the crosshairs, Jim. Come on, man. 1, 2, 3, 4 higher lows. Then we have 1, 2, 3 higher highs. So that's relatively short term, very short term on the bull side. My area of support, I'm going to go ahead and draw that right now with my rectangle. And the way I do that is I'm looking at the lowest body of a candle that has previously closed on a short term time basis, and it's right there. So I touch the top of my rectangle with that green. Let's see if I could make it bigger so everybody could see it a little bit better. How about that? There we go. So that's how I'm just touching the bottom of this green candle. I'm drawing my rectangle, and I'm proclaiming. This is my proclamation that this is a short-term area, contemporary short-term area of support. All right, we almost have another candle here. Let's just hang tight and see what happens, and move from there. Move forward from there. Move forward with our lives from there. Pam, good morning. So Pam says, is your volume profile just for the morning so far, or does it include the whole Globex session? I like my volume profile to include the whole Globex session. What Pam's referring to is in the equity markets, you have regular trading hours and extending trading hours. In the cash markets, right? Oh, we got a new candle here. So I feel good about another unit, by the way. But where I want to position it is right above this low. So I really want to envision a higher low. And I'm going to throw it right there for my second unit and see if we get it. We did. Sweet. All right. And maybe we're going to get a lower low. Who knows? But that's okay, because I want to get that second unit. I want to kind of get things moving. And then for my stop, which we're going to talk about in a minute, I'm going to change it to a 2-lot. So Pam, I want to see what happened last night. This is a global 23-hour marketplace. We've got serious issues with respect to the pandemic, with respect to travel, with respect to a lot of different things. Asian markets closed higher. I have the DAX, German markets. DAX is up 274. The Euro Stock 50 is up 75.5. So we're seeing strength, globally in these equity markets right now, which I think is important. So I want to see all the volume that happened last night. There are entities and institutions and people and commercial facilities participating 24 hours. So it's a 23-hour profile that I have right here. And let's see if we get our second unit here. And there we go. All right, so now we have 2 units here. And now what do we do? Well, one of the things we should consider doing is placing a profit target for one of the units. And right away, and I'm going to probably change this, but right away I want to see a higher high than this particular candle here, before we're done. So I'm just going to go right click. I'm going to hit the sell. And I'm doing this from the chart just because it's easy for me. And you could do it from the trading ladder. The NinjaTrader Superdome is outstanding. You could use it from the Superdome, but I particularly like doing it on the chart because it's just like a preference, right? I don't know if I don't have any speed advantage really. It's just probably the speed advantage would be clicking on you just click here and you could send a contract. But in any event, Gerald says, on the order flow volume profile indicator, what is the interpretation and or the difference of the light blue and the dark? That's a great question. So the light blue, okay, let's talk about the dark blue first. And this is not, this distribution is a little odd, right? It's a double distribution. We have a point of control up here. Let me get my crosshairs out. It's 367-ish. We have a second big area of volume here down where we're trading right now at 305. And so it's a little unique, but the blue, think of it, if it was like a bell-shaped Gaussian distribution, think of this dark blue as one standard deviation worth of volume. That's all, just one standard deviation worth of volume. Just a simple, basic kind of high school math idea of distribution, right? A distribution of data. This distribution just happens to be painted sideways on the chart instead of what we're usually used to seeing on an x-axis. So that's what the dark blue is. The light blue is everything else, right? All the volume outside of that one standard deviation. And so light blue below, so the dark blue is called the value area, right? And it's called the value area, and that's where the idea there is that's where traders are finding the most value, right? That's where buyers and sellers, regardless of whether you're buying or selling, you're coming up with an opinion that the prices in this dark blue area are more important to you, right? There's value in that from a positioning point of view. The light blue below here is prices below value, right? This is prices below value, and then the light blue above here, you guessed it, is prices above value. Busy says, I'm looking to sell the 4633s on MES. Any thoughts? Yeah, let's just pivot. I'll pivot over there and we'll come back to this idea of the shading. But that's the idea, right? That's the idea. And so we use the transitions between value and prices above value and prices below value to come up with trading ideas. So I'm looking to sell the 4633s, and we're trading around 3150. Again, my philosophy is I want to see a few more candles here to demonstrate we definitely have what I'm going to say is an area of resistance established. Let's draw the rectangle just to kind of get that in our head. And that's where the rectangle is right now. And my rectangle is touching the bot, it has to touch the previous close. And let me just kind of make it easier for everyone to see. Sorry for my, what I'm trying to do is put this rectangle right at the bottom, the top of the green candle that's already closed. And so we have, let me get my this thing. Okay. So right here, right at 33, 34, I'm sorry, you literally have the bottom of my rectangle. We have part of the body within the actual rectangle of the contemporary candle. And I'll be worried if this candle closes like this, I'm going to have to move my rectangle up. And, you know, it's a counter trend trade idea at this point. I don't, you know, it could be a great it could be a great idea. I don't know. But I would wait either for another, you know, my opinion is let's get another candle of information. And what time is it? We got 4 more minutes. Or you know, at least kind of wait to see if we can get back up in the rectangle. There is a point in time where it's okay to go ahead and do the counter trend trade, and I don't know. I would be a little more patient here as we get into it. But you know, then again, if you're going to put a tight stop in there, then it might be worth a try. I don't know, but I'm going to stick with what our strategy is. Going with what I think the bias is of the day, waiting for a pullback, and then trying to get involved at that point. And so now that I've said that, I'm going to look at my original entry point and I'm going to say, is it reasonable? Is it? I don't know if that was helpful, Busy, or not. I don't, but that's just not my cup of tea. So I'm going to look at this and say, is it reasonable in anybody's world that we're going to get back down to my entry? And the answer is it's possible. You know, it's a subjective question. Maybe it's reasonable, maybe it's not reasonable. And I'm looking at the next area of interest, which is going to be coincide with this kind of volume node here, where my crosshairs are. And I'm going to call it out at 21, 22, 21.50, something like that, which would be above that 23.6. So the aggressive trade idea would be moving up that stop, moving up the target, the limit order to the 23.6% area and going from there. So conservative entry, more aggressive entry, and that's what I'm seeing right now. When this candle closes, though, you know, maybe we will come to the conclusion that, hey, maybe a counter trend trade here would be a good idea. Let's just give it a couple minutes here. Let's give it a couple minutes here. I mean, the Dow is up almost 400, 387. So the stock index complex across the board is looking good, both domestically and internationally. The U.S. dollar is taking it on the chin a little bit. If you look at all the crosses on the right-hand side, Aussie dollar, British pound sterling, Canadian dollar, euro, Japanese yen, peso. So you can see that it's an inverse relationship, right? You have these are crosses, right? So the euro versus the U.S. dollar. So when these are positive here, that means the dollars, the foreign currency, the other currency, front currency is strong. Scrolling down here, crude oil still below $70. Very interesting. We'll dig into that in an hour or so. Gold below that magic 1800 number and up 13. Silver 2270. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty strong. Treasury bonds down a handle. So the ZB 30-year Treasury bonds down 27 ticks. Remember, it's a 32 tick market. So that's kind of consistent with what we're seeing in the equity market right now. We do have a direct correlation going on with those markets as we speak. Bitcoin, I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. Micro Bitcoin, we need more volume in the micro Bitcoin, and I'm praying for more volume in the micro Bitcoin because it could be a great market. Your 33s might have been a good trade idea. Hopefully I didn't talk you into it too strong, but we're still not there yet. We have a new candle now. Let's talk about it. And then the grains down here are a mixed bag. New candle. Let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look. Let me just manipulate this a little bit. So I'm going to move my rectangle back up a little bit, because we have another close. This is close. This is a veil. This is a higher body, right? It's a higher body, and it's that candle is closed. It's over. It's history. It's written in the history books. Can't change it, even if you wanted to. And now we have another candle forming right now. So we're going to be a little bit more patient here and see what happens. But again, looking for places to buy, looking for places to buy. Let's kind of toggle over to our NASI. Take a look at the candle structure on this particular trade idea. We're going to move the stop up in a minute for sure to kind of coincide more with my rectangle. The trick with the micro Nasdaq is they're so volatile and these candles are so big that you don't want to get whipsawed and stopped out accidentally, I'm going to say. But we no longer have a higher low. We have a lower high and a lower high. So let's see what happens here. We got 9 more minutes before this candle does anything. But I'm definitely going to move the stop up to below the rectangle a little bit. Let's do it right now, actually. Move it up. And we get into my rectangle and we start plowing through it. Below that 61.8%, I think we could be in trouble. Right now, so far so good. Buyers are coming back in. Take a breath. Busy says, I took it. I'm short 46.31. All right, with 2 lots in the MES, let's go and root for Busy here for a second. We'll just pull up the ES chart. 46.31. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Don't panic. We'll see if we can, that rectangle could be powerful. This area of support, right? Can't get a candle to close in it. We tried 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th time. And usually on the 4th time, then in my mind, in 10 minutes on the 4th time, then the counter trend trade becomes at the high of the day becomes more attractive. I guess I'll call it attractive. I don't know. Because he says I could see the momentum slowing on the Renko chart, though I'm not good with Renko charts. That's not my thing. Too much information makes my brain just kind of go crazy. Okay, so MA, that's a fantastic question. Thank you for that. And here it is. The micro Nasdaq volume is greater than the Nasdaq volume. Would you comment on this? Yes. And I think it's a great thing. So let me just kind of pull this over so we can take a peek. The Nasdaq right now is doing about 273,000. The micro Nasdaq is doing about 500, almost double, right? Almost double, not quite, but way more volume in the micros. And I think the reason is, I'm not sure 100%, but I think my opinion is the reason is this is such a dangerous market from a volatility point of view, right? There's less volume in general, but from a volatility point of view, the NASI moves like popcorn, right? And it's a smaller size tick. It's a $20 point, the big E-mini Nasdaq, and it bounces around. It's a smaller index. There's only 100 entities in it instead of 500. And from that natural volatility point of view, it's more dangerous, right? I think you need a bigger size account to trade the big classic Nasdaqs. You can get away with a smaller size account. With the micro Nasdaqs, you could be more generous and liberal with your stop management and your targeting, in my opinion. So I think traders are recognizing this, and not only that, you could scale in and scale out a lot better on a normal size trading account with the micros. So I'm a fan of that. And I think this is going to be a trend in the micros. I think we're going to get more and more of these markets really, really popularized. I'll use the word popularized. I mean, the micro crude, it's got 74,000. It's not, 500,000 yet, but it's better than a poke in the eye. We're going to get into that at 12 o'clock today. Sellers coming back in on this candle right here. We have 5 more minutes here while we're waiting. Let's shoot over to the micro NAS. We're pretty close to break even. We're about 5 handles away. So let me just kind of demonstrate. I'm gonna just use my roller of the mouse on this big red, what I'm gonna call dominant candle here, high to low. I mean, look at the high to low. it's almost 100 handles, right? Not quite, but 16 short, 84 handles on that big red candle. And then we rallied all the way back up. So the point is, these are wicked candles. Again, this is a technical term. I'm going to probably trademark this, wicked candle. And that you have to respect in the Nasdaq. I know I'm going on and on about this, but that's why we're always in the micros on these events. And again, I got to scale in. I'm 20% of a classic. I'm not too worried about if we get stopped out. That would, to use a technical term, that would suck, right? But the pain is going to be a lot less. In any event, I'm optimistic on this trade right now. I'm optimistic. Gerald, that's a great question. We got some terrific questions today. Gerald asked, why do you think the MYM is not as popular? And he's referring to the E-mini Dow, which is the YM right here, only 100,000 contracts, 104,000 contracts so far. And then the micro E-mini Dow, which is also about 110,000. Oh, that's interesting though. It's got about parity on volume here. So the micro, my opinion is this, it's a less sexy market. 30 blue chip stocks. They kind of, they don't go in unison with everything. A lot of times the stock index is less correlated than the other stock index futures. And it's a $5 tick instead of, a $12.50 tick. It's not traded in quarters, it's traded in full points. And, it doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't typically move. My brother's a big fan. My brother, I talk to my brother in the mornings, we compare notes. And he's a huge fan of the YM. It's very tradable, but like the Nasdaq, you got to give yourself some room with your stops and things like that. But so I don't know. It's just one of those where if I had to choose which market do I want to do, I want to do the one that's most liquid, that has a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then everyone's trading it. And pretty soon we have 7 times more classic ES trading than we have classic YM trading. So. But I wouldn't shy away from it for sure. I mean, and remember the tick size in a Dow is $5, and then so the tick size in a micro is 50 cents. That gives you an awfully good ability to scale in and hold positions overnight for a longer period of time, for sure. Okay. Cosimo says, me too much information drives me nuts. And I used to be that guy, right? I went from simple to complicated to simple again. And over the decades, I found simpler, patient, and be patient is better than complicated and be impatient. Be aggressive and get in there and click away at the mouse. Well, brokers are happy with the commissions, but you might not be happy with the results. So easy does it. Anyway, appreciate that question. That was a good one. Yeah, Cosimo, I'm not changing. I got a 10-minute, off to the side, I have a 30-minute, off to the side, I have a daily. I mean, I'm just showing you one of my screens. But my idea is, hey, I want this trade to do something while we're talking together, right? I have an hour time frame here. Just the whole idea is I'm going to be here from 9 to 10 Central Time, 10 to 11 East Coast time. Looking for a trade idea to fit that time frame. It's a half an hour after the cash opens up. And we should have plenty of opportunities within that time frame. And that's kind of my thought process with the 10-minute. So this is looking negative though for our trade idea for sure. And notice where I put my stop. I'm right in this rectangle here, and we have a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low. And right at this point, we got to see is the 61.8% going to hold or not? If it doesn't hold, we're going to be out, which is okay. We'll shake it off and try again later. If it holds, then we're going to stay the course. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We'll see what happens. What time is it? It is 10:40. We have plenty of time. And I could toggle over to, let's see if I could just do, let's do YM on the trading ladder. And let me just show you, you got to be careful because you can see the bid-ask spreads are a couple of ticks usually. You can see the bids are in the single digits and the offers are in the single digits. So best practices, limit orders to enter, limit orders as your target. That's kind of a good course to go because you're going to have that bid-ask spread to deal with. That's $10 right now instead of $5, right? In the ES, you have that tighter. They have that tighter spread. Anyway, we could take a look at the micro too, just to kind of compare. MYM, real easy to change. Same thing. You have the same, you know, and the volume is kind of parity, right? 107,000 versus 113,000. I'll just freeze it here. I just froze the DOM in a situation where you have the bid-ask spread one tick, but the last traded price is a tick below. So that's kind of interesting. In any event, thinner markets, be more patient, let the market come to you. And in my opinion, and at least my hopes and dreams, is you'll have a better experience. That's a good one. We talk about dopamine a lot. We're doing that. See, we didn't get it. But if we would have been, yeah, we would have been okay at 23.6, and it's still okay to consider that, but I'm going to leave it alone. Dopamine is one of those things we talked about in the psychology of trading class, which, by the way, I revamped this week. It's going to be, the next cycle is in a few weeks. We're going to do the psychology of trading class. It's going to be way better than the first one, the maiden voyage. Maiden voyage was okay, but I've done a little bit more research. I'm a little bit more prepared for it. So I'm looking forward to the next time we're doing it, which is going to be in December. But yeah, dopamine is going to become a prominent piece of that presentation for sure. Adrenaline, serotonin, all of that good stuff. Busy says, I freaked out and closed for a 12 handle profit. That's not freaking. That's good. That's good. You know, you could never, don't kick yourself in the head, kick yourself for a winning trade. You know, I prefer being patient and letting your trade idea go, but you know, good thing happened. Antonio, it's a tough day. I'm doing the micro e-minis. Awesome. Good choice. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Appreciate everybody being here today. We still have some time. It's 10:43. Let's just toggle back over to our, you know, we're pretty much where we entered here in this micro NASI trade. Let's do a little bit of a candlestick interpretation here. This is a pretty big wick underneath, right? And I know this candle's not closed, so we can't claim victory just yet, but this is a big wick at the bottom, right? Suggesting buyers came back in, pushed everything back up, and we have follow through here with the green candle. Let's see if we continue to get follow through. You know, our profit target's pretty far away right now for just the one unit. And my intention is, if we can get that one unit, move my stop to break even, which, you know, we're at about now with just one unit, and see if we can make new highs on the trade. That's the idea. So 33, we'll move it up to 33, 330, 331. If in fact this trade materializes in the time we have together. So Steve Ward, this is Antonio saying, I like Steve Ward psychologically. So for the psych of trading, Steve Ward. I'm reading for the third time, The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. Developing winning attitudes. You know, Mark has some good insights. You know, he was a pit trader guy, kind of contemporary with me down on the floor of the board in the early 80s. And so his point of view is a little bit more expanded than the regular just, hey, I've never had to deal with a pit trade. I've only dealt with electronic trading, which is most of us. Not most of me, because I'm really old, but most of you guys, because you're not as old as I am. And but his points of view are pretty good. And I just enjoy reading it and kind of reminding me of what's going on here. Charles asks, good morning. Do you usually start trading at 10 a.m.? If so, why? This particular Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday event is scheduled for 10 a.m. East Coast time. And it's just kind of become the time frame when most folks could come in and hang out with me. You know, a lot of people like to trade the open or the pre-open. You don't need me to get in the way. And usually there's some pretty good price action, some reasonable price action to consider. We have a lot of volume profile here we could talk about. We have a lot of good candlesticks we could talk about. And it just kind of came one of those things. You know, I know a lot of folks have like paid places they go in the morning to trade with other folks, paid chat rooms and stuff like that. We don't want to get away in the way of that. But I think really there's a lot of opportunities to trade in this particular time frame. You know, half hour after the open, right? Institutional investors, the commercial folks have come in and have done their thing. The volume spike happens then. And then, you know, the dust settles a little bit and we could generate some information on how to participate. So I like the time frame for sure. I think it's convenient for most people to pop in here. And it just kind of worked out that way. I mean, again, we're just kind of talking out loud. You guys are typing in things that are really insightful and helpful in the dialogue here. And as a community, tell your friends, come in whenever you want. It's free. I mean, NinjaTrader's not charging you guys to be here. As a matter of fact, you don't even have, you could have an account with whatever broker you want. We don't care. So I just like the platform, the whole thing. Alexander Elder's book. Yep. Herbert, great call. Psychology of Trading, for sure. And the thing that's most interesting about psychology of trading really is the idea that the psychology is different. Everything is different than in the real world, right? Everything is different than in the real world. It's once you're in the game, you have no control of price, and you have no control. The only thing you have control of is your entries and exits. And so that requires a certain amount of discipline, right? When you're out in the world doing other things, then all of these chemical dopamine and all these things that make you happy, serotonin, are creating are based on real world experiences, things that you're going through. Here, it's money, right? And we're risk capital only. And we're looking at price. We're not looking at money. We're looking at price. We're not looking at money. It's a whole different mentality. And and the outcome is uncertain, right? It's not like flipping a coin. It's not like playing blackjack. When you're gambling, you have the choice to stop, right? You don't have to, what your downside is, and you know what the probabilities are. But you have the ability to stop. Here, the market is flowing like a river. We talked about this yesterday, and it's always moving. The game is never over. The game is never over. So it's a whole different thing, man. And it's kind of important. Cosmo says, I love the platform, very clear. Thumbs up on that one. I've been using. We got to really consider what we're doing here. Hang on with the micro Nazi here. Let's see what the next candle brings us. We might want to think about our target. We might not. I'm not sure yet. It's a pretty big green candle here. And what's going through my mind is what in the next 10 minutes, what's the chances of us? It doesn't matter. We're going to let it go. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it. I lost track of what I was saying before. Oh, platform-wise. So, I started in the retail business in the late 90s, from a futures trading point of view. From a brokerage point of view, and I was on the floor in the early 80s, and I've used my only point is I've used every platform you could think of, just about. From JTrader to Strategy Runner to, our Infinity AT legacy platform. You name it, I've used it. Photon Trader, Damien's product back in the day. And I never really gave a second thought to NinjaTrader, and then I started using it, and I realized how powerful it is, how functional it is, and how easy it is to kind of manipulate windows, duplicate windows, create a personalized workspace for us right now. In any event, this thing is moving nicely. Yeah, so I want to get one unit off so I could kind of try to take advantage of moving a stop for the second unit and letting it ride. But we didn't quite get there yet, and you could tell from my tone I was hesitant to think about that point of control maybe as a good target for one unit instead of where we're at right now, because everything's kind of shifted since then. And we have not traded above that level for quite some time, right? So we haven't traded above. Let me draw a rectangle. Just to be fair, let me just draw a rectangle on the other side. And again, if your risk profile is different, it's okay to have a tighter profit target. So again, here's my area of resistance right here. I think my target is appropriately placed. Originally, remember, I wanted to get a higher high on this candle, and then all hell broke loose. And then we had to wait. So that's kind of the thought process right now. But there's no shame in saying, hey, I want to move my stop to break even. Hey, I want to get out of the trade. It's taking too long. It's almost 11 o'clock. We have 8 more minutes here, and things are kind of slowing down. But then again, we have another green candle kind of trying to brew here, trying to percolate. And we have a lot of ground to make up. We've had some big bear moves in this market. Remember the daily chart, and the Nasdaq has been stronger than everything else. So, but in any event, we're going to stick to our guns here. We'll see what happens. At a certain point, this 23.6% retracement is going to be very important as we go forward, and that might be a good place to move a stop to, actually, if you really want to. But if you do that, I think because of the natural volatility, you have to change the target to a 2 lot, right? So it would look like this. It would look like this. And then I'm moving this up to 23.6. And then I'm locking in 2 units. And I still have hope for my target. And, the lifetime of the rest of the trade is going to be short, because what I've done was I've closed the frame on the potential on the upside versus the potential on the downside. But that's okay. I mean, I feel okay doing this because, again, my bias is bullish, and we were patient. Patience was the number one thing we just displayed. And we did some active trade management, which the NinjaTrader platform, I just used, I could have used the trading ladder, but I didn't. I used the chart. And I feel better about our whole thought process than we did yesterday, the whole place we're in than we did yesterday. No, Rick, this $700 margin, that takes, remember, I have an order working, right? So I have an order working that when you look at intraday margin here, this is $500 right here, even though we're not filled. It's the potential to get filled, right? The potential to get filled. So that's $500 on a day trade margin that I'm using, even though I'm not filled. A lot of people don't, and then I have 2 units here at $100 a pop. So that gets us to 700. AP Trace is the only thing I didn't like is you can't lock windows in place. I have to think about that. By the way, we have to be quick on our feet here, because if we do get a fill either stopped out or we get our profit target, we got to cancel the other one. What do you mean by freeze your window? I'm going to look into that whole idea of freezing windows. Antonio says, I have NinjaTrader 8. Been in sim mode for 6 years, but going live starting January 21st. It's a different ballgame. You're right. Again, my recommendation is get involved with the micros, right? Once you get your risk capital, whatever brokerage firm you're using, Get your, maybe because even with the micro, you have, psychological phenomenons going on, right? Even with the micros. So it's a really good next step, in my opinion. And it's going to be completely different. Your experience is going to be different, whether you like it or not. Rick, you can't retract a message, can you? Yeah, all the brokerage firms, day trade margins are pretty similar these days, Herbert. Okay, so we got stopped out. That's okay. We're gonna. It was a good trade idea. Things worked our way. I'm gonna cancel out my target. We've kind of, my area up here of what I called resistance is holding so far. We're gonna have. I'm gonna stick around for 4 more minutes just to see what the 11 o'clock candle shows us. And I do. The other thing I'm going to do is we're going to toggle back over to the ES, and I'm going to suggest that this trade idea is over. I'm not going to suggest it. I'm going to say it out loud. In my opinion, this trade idea is over, and I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I'm going to cancel that and see what happens on the next candle for the ES. Oops, I'm sorry. Bring this back down. And this rectangle is no longer valid. Well, it is actually. It's valid until this candle closes. So we'll just leave it like that. And we'll stick around for this candle here, see what happens. While we're waiting, I do want to remind everybody trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have that high combination of leverage and volatility, right? Which presents opportunity, but it also presents risk. So be careful. With the day trade margins, risk capital only, be in a good spot, be healthy, be happy. Wow, look at that go, man. ES is up 73 handles. YM only 450. I would have expected it to be a little higher, but that's okay. We're in good shape. Thanks for coming too. Appreciate the thumbs up on the YouTube. That's awesome. Greatly appreciated. Remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, we're doing this. Wednesday and Thursdays at 12, we do specialty events, which is going to happen in about an hour, micro crude oil futures. And we got a story. Do we have a story to tell? Yes, we do. So it's going to be something. So if you have nothing to do, pop in later and tell your friends, your trading buddies, your neighbors, your relatives, your fellow countrymen. Heck, even tell your enemies to pop in. We'll make them your friends. We'll get everybody together. So feel free to pop in here anytime you want. I enjoy doing this and look forward to it every day. You guys are welcome. Thanks for coming. I'm going to wait 2 more minutes. I really want to see what happens with this candle, and I really want to see what happens with our micro trade. Should we have been more patient? Yes or no? So, I'm looking at this candle structure right now. I'm thinking we probably should have been more patient instead of moving our stop up to 23.6, but that's okay. But again, looking at things after the fact, writing them down in a notebook, I'm literally writing this down. Should we have been more patient? Should we have been more patient on our target and not moved our stop up after this phenomenon of a giant green candle? And now, so that's kind of a, we didn't know if we were going to get a continuation candle or not. And maybe we should have. Maybe we should have. I don't know. My rectangle's still holding though. My rectangle's still holding. Cosimo, thank you for coming there. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody's thanks. Lee, thanks. Go get back to redecorating or remodeling or doing. And when you're done, come on over to my house. We have some work to do over here as well. Simon, thanks for coming. Justin, thanks for being here. 1 more minute here. We'll see what, oh, there we go. All right, so we have a new candle here. Let me just kind of move this clutter over a little bit. We're going to take a look at it in detail. Yeah, I mean, another continuation candle, looking bearish, looking for places to buy. Careful on counter trend trade here. Yes. Now on the yes, what we have to do, a little bit of chart management, oops, not that much chart management, but move up our rectangle to the top of the close of the previous candle. Easy as that. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Take care out there. I do want to remind everybody to be safe out there and take care of each other. Thank you.